Good morning. It's Friday morning, 11 a.m. And you know what that means? It means Greg Flanagan's here. Fridays with Flanagan. Coming to you every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Time, whatever they call this darn thing. It is 11 a.m. It is Friday. It's October in the South, Charleston, South Carolina. Right now, it's, I think, 78 degrees outside. It's been a beautiful 3, 4 days we've been going on. This weekend, we're supposed to get back up to 88. And of course, next week, we're getting down to about 43. Still a beautiful time. If you're looking, if you need a referral base down here, please. I run a team, been doing this about 16 years. I do run a small team here. Always happy to take your referrals. You'll never be embarrassed if we do take your referral. Today, how's your week going? How's your week going? The market's still there. It's evened out a little bit. We're into that fall season. You know, one of the things about the fall season is, as real estate agents, it's our time to do a couple of things, and one of them is to look at what everybody else is doing and to plan next year, and the other is to make sure our databases are full, that people know us. Time to start talking to them a little bit more. Christmas is coming up. Thanksgiving is coming up. All kinds of opportunities to talk to people to see what their plans are for real estate next year. And that's important to a lot of people. Excuse me. Business planning itself is something I start normally October 1st. I start looking about what we did, where my leads came from, uh, who we sold, who we didn't sell. Just as important as who you sold is who you didn't sell, right? Lost sales, practices that work, practices that didn't work. It's a full immersive atmosphere. You got to exercise you have to go through. So today we're going to be talking about the 8 steps to building a bigger business, and hopefully every year your business is getting bigger and bigger because that's what we're in business to do, right? Nobody wants to be stagnant. We don't want to stay right at the same level because as inflation, which inflation's going up, folks, as inflation goes up, you got to make sure your business is there to cover that too. So we appreciate you coming on today, hanging with us. Half-hour show, always available. Let's do this now. Ready? Click. Thanks. Um, Power Onward. Fridays with Flanagan. Power Onward is my coaching company. If you need help, drop us a line. PowerOnwardMastermind.com. Join me as I pull back the curtain on some of the best kept secrets of the real estate world. Each week, we dive into what's happening in the market and how we, as professional real estate experts and agents, should be responding. There's nothing new in this world, folks. Yeah, we got social media, we got this and that. It still comes down to some real big basics, and that's what we're going to go over today. Okay. You got questions? Please drop them in the comments. Fridays with Flanagan. Oh, there we go. 8 steps to a bigger business. Step 1. Whoa. Let me run this. Where is it? There it is. All right. First thing you got to do, sorry about that technophobe here. Um, Interested or committed. You know, we run a business, and I think part of that business is, I really like to run a business. I want to do this, I want to do that, but you're not reaching your goals. And I think a lot of it, especially for me, it comes from having the clarity on what I have to be dedicated and disciplined to do with my time and energy to achieve my goals. Are you interested or are you committed? Yeah, I'm interested in getting there, but am I really committed? Am I committed to doing what I need to do every day, every hour, every day of the week? Am I committed to those goals? And will I do it? And what I've found is I've got to be fully committed to what doing what it takes. Now, if you've ever gone on a weight loss journey, on a hiking journey, I know people that want to, do the 26 peaks in New York. Every week they do. I'm going to do this whether rain or shine, rain, sleet, snow, shine. I'm going to do this walk, and that's important The same thing with your business. Every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And the monotony. Couple weeks ago we went over what is success. Success is boring. It's the monotony of doing the same thing and coming up with a better result. So be fully committed. If you're not fully committed, then you're just interested, right? If you're in an airplane and you're fully committed to parachuting, what do you have to do? You have to jump out of the plane. And that goes back to feeling uncomfortable, doing things you don't like to do, doing things that say, Greg, I'm not really comfortable doing that. Do them anyway because they are proven success stories. Number 2, lead generation. Wow, this is too, there we go. Lead generation. A 554 sustainable lead generation comes down to, this is an old Tom Ferry thing. 554 sustainable. You know, contact 5 people in your database, contact 5 new people, and follow up with 5 people that you have deals going on with, or you're getting right them up. You're moving them up the ladder, moving them down the field, whichever way you want to call it. Follow up, database, and you always have to talk to new people. This is a daily thing. This is a daily step that you need to take. 4 to 6 lead sources. What are your 4 to 6 lead sources? They do not have to be paid lead sources, right? Is it social media? Do we count social media? Do we count Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? You could if you really want to, or you can just clump them together. Are you doing paid advertising for Facebook? Are you doing paid Google advertising? Are you posting on, your favorite spot? Are you doing open houses? That's a lead source. Are you knocking on doors? That's a lead source. Are you sending a newsletter? That's a lead source. Are you farming? Lead source. Are you having parties at your house? Are you doing lead client events? Lead sources. Figure out 4 to 6 lead sources and forget everything else. Dive deep into those four to 6 lead sources. Dive deep. Be consistent. Track and know your numbers. How many people did I contact? This is important. I was listening to not a podcast, but an old MP3 I had from like 2013. And back then, you contacted 40 people and you got 1 sale. Today, it's 75 people, folks. 75 people talking to them, not just leads coming in, 75 people talking, and you're only getting 1 out of that. So you've really got to be dedicated and make sure you're tracking and know your numbers so that when you get up, you go, I've got to talk to 50 people this week. And if I talk to 50 people, this is going to happen. Those are called KPI, okay? Key performance indicators, lead numbers, lead information. What I do here is going to give me my lag, and lag is how many houses you sell. That's the bottom line. How many people you contact. That's all lag numbers. Track and know your numbers. You can find them on any tracking sheets. Drop me a note. I'll be happy to share a tracking sheet for you. Automatic monthly campaigns. Lead campaigns. Any good CRM right now, customer resource management, is going to have some sort of monthly campaign, automatic drip, you want to call it, where you can just plug and play. Here's Bob. Bob's not responding to me, but he's looking at properties on my website. Bob obviously doesn't want to talk to me because he's probably not ready to go right now. So I'm going to put him on an automatic monthly campaign. And he's going to look at the properties. And once a month, I'm going to drop him a newsletter, maybe a just checking in, Bob. What can I do for you? And that has to be part of your routine, okay? That has to be part of routine. An automatic monthly campaign. KW has 36 touch. I know by the time you're done with me, if you're in my database, we send a lot of stuff. We might be up to 45, 50, 60 pieces. It all depends. Nothing wrong with it. Next, we got any questions? No? Good. Next 8 steps to a bigger business: lead conversion, database, short term, long term, buyer, seller needs. That's not bullshit. That's buyer, seller needs. Okay. Database, short term, long term, buyer, seller needs. I was on a call this morning. Every morning we have a stand up call, and one of the young ladies said that she raised a hand. We go over what anybody had any wins from yesterday, and she raised her hand. She said, I had somebody in my database raise her hand and say, you know what, we're not ready today, but we are going to put our house on the market next year, and you're going to be our agent. That is a long-term seller person. And of course, she was happy because she thought she didn't have a sale. So look the long term. You're going to need money 6, 7, 12, 5, 6 years from now. Treat your database right. Visual lead list, real important, because if you're not seeing the people, now you can do it on a CRM or you can do it on your whiteboard. If you're not seeing who you're working, they go off your list, right? Top of mind, squeaky wheel gets the grease type stuff. If you're not seeing them every day, you're forgetting about them. There's a lot of other things distracting you. Make sure you got a visual lead list. Who's hot? Who's out 1 to 3 months? Who's out 3 to 6 months? Who's out 6 to 12 months? Focus on the 1 to 3, today's business, and make sure everybody else has got an automatic lead follow-up system. As I said, we use a basic 36, but then we go out and we extend it with different other promotions during the year. So have your visual lead list, have your automatic lead follow-up systems. If your CRM doesn't have a lead follow-up system, contact me. I'll put you in touch with a couple of different ones that I've used in the past, reasons why I use them and reasons why I don't. Increased conversion ratio. This is important. The best way to make more money is to increase your skill level, increase your conversion ratio. What do I mean by that? If all you're doing is picking up a phone and saying, hi, this is Greg, and I want to know if you want to buy a house. Oh, you don't? Okay, goodbye. Click. You're never going to sell a house. You're never going to have that long-term database. You've got to pick up that phone. You've got to know your scripts. You got to know your dialogues. You got to know whatever you want to call it, conversation, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. You've got to know what to say and what to ask. All right. The most important part of that conversation is the other person telling you. So you've got to make sure you know the questions. Again, we've got the questions if you're looking. Increase conversion. You increase your conversion ratio. You increase the amount of money in your pocket. Get better skills. 4, presentations. Buyers, seller, and investors. I think one of the things that stops new agents from going out and getting buyers and sellers, not so much investors, but buyers and sellers, is the fear that they don't know what they're saying, the fear that they don't know enough, the fear that, what do I say? And this is where a presentation comes in. I'm sure myself and most senior agents, most skilled agents can recite the presentation by heart, which you should be able to do eventually. And it seems like we're just doing it on the fly or winging it. We're not. We understand what we need to talk about. We understand when we're supposed to talk about it. We understand how to close people. And this is where this comes in handy. Now, a presentation, if you need a presentation, we've got them. The buyer has to be sat down. The seller has to be sat down. And you have to go through and tell them who you are. Sell your self, sell your company, and sell your product. You're talking to them and saying, asking them what their needs and wants are and how you can fill them, and that you're competent enough to help them get what they need. So these presentations, I can guarantee you, if you're with any kind of brokerage, there's a presentation there. Take it, doctor it up. If your numbers don't fit in the presentation, use the brokerage numbers. Okay. If you don't believe that their core values that are listed in the presentation are your core values, change it. You might also want to look at changing brokerages. Um, that's an important part. People work with what? KLT, know, like, and trust. So you're going to go through and build this presentation. Have one in your pocket. You need one, give me a holler, and we'll be happy to make some contact with you. The seller presentation, again, you got to know who you are, what your value statement is, what you're offering your client. Why are you better than the guy next door? Okay, so make sure you have your presentation. When you have a presentation, things work a little bit easier. You get to know your presentation, and you're going to find that people will follow you better along the presentation way. 5, systems. As you build a bigger business, so we're talking about building a bigger business. The other part about presentations, just to go back to that, is that as you hire people on, your presentations can teach them how to do it as you're building a bigger business. Systems, structure, who does what when. You know what? This is what happens when you when you sign a contract. This is who you go to when the contract is due for, milestones in the contract, and this is how we close a contract. Who does what? That person does this person does that, you do that, or that person. Know who does what and when. That's a big structure. If you're going to build a bigger business, structure your business around those people. 2, consistency, marketing, lead generation, follow up, and closing. As you build a bigger business, the more consistent you become in what you do, the easier the business is to maintain and control. Gary Keller said not too long ago during a group meet, he said, of all the businesses, the big businesses out there, the big real estate businesses, no matter how different you think they are, in the end, they're pretty much the same. They have the structure, they have the consistency, and they follow the budget. Okay, this is where it comes in. They have a plan, they execute the plan, and they profit from the plan. So to build a bigger business, get your systems down. A lot of people go out and hire real estate agents first without having systems. That doesn't work, folks. You're just going to go crazy. Hire somebody to put your systems in place. And if it's nothing more than saying, hey, just follow me around and write down everything I do. That's the best way to do it. If you're doing your if you're doing your job on a regular basis, it's pretty easy to do. This is what I do at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 3. This is what I say when I go to a buyer. This is what I say when I go to a seller. This is how we close a deal. This is how we lead generate. All these things are just systems. Get them together, and you will build a bigger business. Number 7, mastery. I think this should be a heck of a lot further forward, but we got it here. Master your emotions. I've said it in past, and I've done half-hour shows on it. I think I did a show called Nobody Dies in Real Estate, and it explains it there. You can't control what happens to you. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. And it's called emotional intelligence. They call it EQ. Don't know why it's Q, but they call it EQ, emotional intelligence. As you get more people on, you can't be flying off the handle. I mean, some people might run their business that way, but it's always a churn. It's always a drama. It's always going on. You can't do that. You've got to control how you react to things. Nobody's going to die in this business. They do, but it's not going to affect your deal. It's not like it's a life and death type business, right? So you've got to control how you react. When you master your emotions, you're going to make more money. When you master your financials, make sure you've got a monthly profit and loss statement. Now, if you're running your own QuickBooks, you're new, you're just starting out on a team or something, run your own QuickBooks, and at the end, do the P&L. That's important because it shows you where your money's going, how you're spending your money, what your profit is. That's why it's called P&L, profit and loss, or what your loss is. And there's ways to do it as far as direct and indirect, and that's another thing you got to talk to your bookkeeper about. Red light, green light. With the financials comes you can't jump in. And I'll tell you a story, man. This kid came on. Kid, he was a grown man, I guess. Came on one year, month and a half in the business. Wouldn't really listen. Had a big ego. It wasn't me. Um, wouldn't really listen. He dumped $10,000, $10,000 in 1 month on a campaign that didn't work. And guess what? He was out of business in 2 months. He didn't listen. He didn't do the red light, green light thing. Yeah, you got money, but you got to look and see what that money's going to buy you. You got to talk to people and say, how'd you make out on that Facebook ad? What works the best in that Facebook ad? What works the work? What's the best in Google? Zillow, right? Realtor.com. Some of those things are big numbers. You're paying $1,000 for a closed lead, on Zillow on an overall basis. It's crazy. So make sure your financials are up to date. Give it a couple of 3 months. Make sure you get a good idea of what you have going on, and do a red light, green light. When you master your financials, it's amazing what can happen. And I can testify to that. I know a lot of people that can. Once you understand your business, that's the way to do it. Masters in business. What does that mean? Master your business. As you grow this bigger business, you've got everything in place. You've got your systems, you got your people, you got your lead generation, you got your budget going, you got your everything's going on, but you still got to make it sellable. And if it's not sellable at the end of your career, that's what we all, once you stop selling, your business ends, right? If you have a team, well, that's sellable now. That's sellable. Or if you have a business that actually produces on a regular basis, it's sellable. But you got to have the proper financials to back it up. You got to have a good, mature database, not a bunch of crap thrown in there with half names and no addresses. And it's got to be a mature database. People have to know that I can contact these people and they're going to answer the call. Think about a doctor or a dentist that you've been to lately, or insurance agent. I just went through an insurance agent. I had the same insurance agent for 20 years. And I dealt with her people most of the time, junior agents, whatever they call themselves. And she retired and her business turned over to another guy. I'm still with the company. I didn't lose anything because they're still giving me the same type of service that they gave me when they were new. Why change? Right? So make it sellable and make sure your database knows that. Uh, get all your information together. Work on that database for the 20 years that you're going to be in this business. Work on the financials so that you can show them the last 3 years and say, this is what my database produced. And this is what my lead generation produced. And here's just make sure everything works, because you will get paid at the end of your career. Make it duplicatable. When you're growing a big business and you want to start scaling that business, you got to have the systems in place that produce results and can be scaled. What do we mean by scaled? You got to take it from one area to another area, or you want to open up. We're in Charleston. We want to go to Myrtle Beach. I can't just walk into Myrtle Beach and go, here, hey, agent, come work for me. If I don't have something that is scalable, something that is duplicatable, something that said, this worked for us in Charleston, and Bob, I know it's going to work for you if you follow the rules and follow the system itself. You all agree with that? Yeah. So that's probably one of the most important parts, especially if you're going to go into expansion. So those are the 8 steps to a bigger business. Any questions? Happy to answer them. If there's anything I didn't touch on you think there should be, let me know. I think every agent, I mainly work with small team, newer agents, underperforming agents, and try to get across to them that everything you do today is going to show up in your business not only 90 days from today, but also 5 years from today. As you grow your business, you grow your database, you grow the systems around those databases, you find out what works, what doesn't work, you listen to other people, you get into masterminds. All this is important for you to have a profitable business. And be honest with you, something that you can retire to, right? You can actually make money off your real estate business. You don't have to work that hard. Um, love to talk to you about it. So we go live every Friday at 11 a.m. You can join us on any one. This is called StreamYard. If you sign into StreamYard, you can actually jump right in here. We'll put you up on the screen with us. It's not like the Zoom. We can do Zoom too, but it doesn't play as well. So anywhere on Power Onward Mastermind, on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and I believe Twitter somewhere maybe. Not sure about that. Maybe next week. And Power On was my coaching company, Fridays with Flanagan. Drop your email in the comments below or send us a private message, and we will send our 25 most frequently used objection handlers. Everybody knows what an objection is. These are the answers to what people tell you all day. You know what? I'm not interested right now. You know what? Bob down the street's going to do it. You know what? I got a neighbor in the business. I got a relative in the business. These are common objections that if you know the answers to, they will get back to you. So go to www.poweronwardmastermind.com for more free resources. My name is Greg Flanagan. I appreciate the heck out of you. It's a beautiful day. I think I'm going to cut out early and maybe hit that little round white ball. That sounds like a plan. Have a great day. Be profitable. Be persistent, consistent, intentional, purposeful, all those great things. Make yourself a plan. Execute the plan. It will happen. Have a great day, folks.